Greetings. Guess what time it is? It's time for another 6 weeks of Conversations with Ed. Now, what do you think about that, huh? We've been gone for a while. A lot of things have happened, so we're going to try to cover some of them, not all of them, because as I said, I do have 6 weeks. I would like to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing for the last couple of months since we've seen you. I do have my special guests on that I usually have for my opening shows, and if you've been watching, you know who that is. Miss Mona is sitting here, Miss Charlene, fixing my collar, looking at myself, make sure I look good. If any of you are on Facebook today, you would have seen that my wife put up there that I was at McGuire VA Hospital having a treatment done. And I usually open up all of my shows, guys, with my hat and telling you, make sure you get out to the VA and get your due. Now, yes, there's been a lot of controversy about what's going on in the VA system. And you know I talk about it. Those of you who watch this show, you know I talk about the VA system on every show. And I also did a special on the VA that if you look at this channel, you would have seen it because it's been on quite a few times. And I'm saying all of that to say to you, I saw an article in the news on Sunday about how bad McGuire VA Hospital is. And I would like to really contradict that article because the only problem with VA Hospital here in McGuire is the patients that go in. They don't know what to do. That's why I did the special, to kind of give a guide on which way to go because people get lost in the system. You see all the news now about how bad the VA is because of the wait times and et cetera. Nobody is explaining that we have had a 10-year war, unlike any war that we've had before, because people are being brought off of the battlefield almost instantly as soon as they have an injury. In the Vietnam War, wars before that, if you lost both your legs in an explosion, most likely you died. But they're bringing them back in, and the increase has not been matched by the hiring of the VA, and the further confusion comes in from the guys, the veterans and gals themselves not knowing exactly how to work the VA system. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get Comcast Local Edition to run that special that I did on the hospital again. I hope all of you do watch it, and don't believe the hype. They're trying to start a whole bunch of confusion, something else to blame on President Obama. We know it, and we know why it is, and we're going to talk about that probably later on in this program also. All of that being said, it's good to be back. I would like for you guys to say hi to the Mrs. Wonderful, and here she is.
My big mouth, and I'm getting ready to ask a question about something that you just said.
Already?
Already. That's what happens when you have your wife on the show.
Okay, all right. Ask me the question.
You said something that I refute a little bit.
Okay,
now,
go ahead.
I do believe they blame everything on Obama, and I love my president. But there were some serious wrongs with the VA before Obama got in.
Absolutely.
And in fact, you experienced some.
Yes, I did.
Because it took you about 30 years to get properly treated.
No, we're talking about two different things.
Okay.
I always got medical treatment
Did you?
from the VA.
Oh,
from the
okay.
time I got out, I had a service-connected card, so I always got.
Okay.
I did have to pay a little bit for my prescriptions then.
Okay.
But what you're talking about was me being able to get my disability.
Oh.
And because of where I was and the time that I was in and what I did, it took 40 years.
But sometimes to get a medical procedure or a surgery done, you had to wait 8 months. I remember that, or 6 months, and I kept saying they're waiting for somebody to die because it took so long. It doesn't take you long like that anymore. But at one time, it took you a long time to get seen for a certain procedure, and you couldn't understand it. Do you remember?
No.
Well, he had brain surgery, so
that's probably.
They said he would lose some of his short-term memory.
That's probably
or
part of it.
long-term.
That's probably part of it. But I will honestly do that because having dealt, as she just said, with the VA for the last 50 years, I know I look much younger than that, but for the last 50 years dealing with the VA, I have experienced just about every closed door that you can imagine, but I have a key.
Yeah.
It's called my
smile.
mouth. And a mouth. And if you go over there and you go with that attitude, see, a lot of our soldiers coming back are justifiably angry. When you go through combat, you see your buddies blown apart, killed right in front of you. You kill people and you remember it, you come back with a different attitude. That's what it's not always PTSD, it's just humanity. It's your own human feelings that come out, and you get a little reluctant to go and face that organization or those people again. That's a lot of it. A lot of the guys just don't want to go. In your book,
I
right?
said, I don't believe we as human beings were really made to kill. Most people feel guilty about it, I think. And those that I've interviewed feel guilty. It comes back and haunts you. The soldiers, I do believe that. But it's getting better.
It is. It's getting a lot better because of the information that's getting out. And once again, you're seeing all of these negative things about what the VA is doing. Szynski should not have resigned. The VA was screwed up before he got in there.
I believe that.
And he was doing his very, very best. He was the commanding general for the 101st Airborne. So I'm going to kind of stick up for him. If he was wrong, he was wrong. But he should not have been made the scapegoat for 30 or 40 years of mismanagement and mistreatment. And the VA was not prepared for this influx, the number of veterans that are coming in there to be treated. McGuire Hospital, once again, as I said in the special, is rated as one of the top 10 hospitals, not VA hospitals, top 10 hospitals in the United States. So there you go on the VA.
That's true. No, they're really good.
So I don't know how you guys spent the last couple of months here.
We had a good time.
We had a good time. We just made up our mind that we were going to take whatever we were doing and make it fun. So my karate kids, who you'll see here in about 3 weeks, Daiichi Shotokan Karate, I'm going to have them back on in 3 weeks. They are now state champions and qualified for next year's national championships. So I'm going to bring the youngsters back in, let you see them again. People seem to have enjoyed seeing
they're good.
them.
They're really good.
And we're working on right now getting these martial arts training into the elementary schools, because it's been discovered that in schools that do have these programs, the marking cycle is much higher. The bullying, there is no bullying. There's more of a camaraderie. There's higher self-esteem, and the kids that are involved have a much better spirit, and you've seen it.
They do
yourself. But
I want you guys to push it towards women too.
Oh yeah,
we need to be able to kick some butt out there.
That's the other thing. I mean, that we went up to the Department of Defense Logistics Command up in D.C.
They did.
I went into the gym while Charlene was doing her book signing and spoke to a young lady, and she was talking. We were talking back and forth. And I left my card, and she said, "Oh, you do karate?" Yes, I do. "Oh, I always wanted to do that naturally." "Okay, let me show you just something simple." And I showed her something simple. And on the way home, she called, and she said, "Mr. Coleman, do you think that you could come up and do a self-defense seminar?" I said, "I think that's a good idea," just like you're saying. So Sensei, my boss, thought it was a good idea, and he and one of our other senior senseis, there's 3 of us in there, went up and did the training for them for 1 hour, and they want to do it on a regular basis. It's very important, and yes, we will do that. Mm-hmm. In fact, I could do a show, that same show that I have my kids on. I think I'll have one of the other senior senseis come on, and we'll do some simple self-defense.
As you said, senior senseis, I wonder what would happen if you took it into one of the rehab
they do that,
places.
but most of the rehab places
like
for senior,
70, 80, 90
they
year
do
olds.
Tai Chi.
Tai Chi.
That's what
my mother used to take
that's
that.
That's the best for aging citizens is Tai Chi, because it helps your circulation, it helps your balance, it helps your breathing, and all of that. I'm not there yet. I'm not at that point yet.
We're fighting it.
Right?
We're not going to get there.
Yeah, I am. I just left the hospital, as she was saying earlier, and had injections. All of this side of my face was my damage.
And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, really, because 2 hours ago, an hour and a half ago, he was in the hospital with needles out of his head, and I'm saying to myself, well, just in case he's sluggish, I run my mouth, I could pick up the speed, but you didn't need any help.
No, I love doing this, and I love seeing my friends. You guys see me. Actually, I can't see you, but I can feel you watching.
And it was a good procedure.
And you should be calling your buddies and your friends now and telling them to turn on. Make sure they have a pen and a pencil, because you always need that with us. Now, to get going, okay? First thing I want to do is give big ups to the folks out at the VA and Today, the procedure was done in the chronic pain clinic, and those folks worked on me very, very hard. It took them like 12 times to even find a vein.
Was Dr. Lester the one in charge?
Dr. Lester, yeah. Dr. Lester and her crew, James for the blood and everything. I mean, just the teamwork.
12 times
Yeah.
to get.
Because my veins were gone. But they found them.
Back up,
yeah,
huh?
you got to pump them up, right? But they were able to take care of it, and they did all of the shots. I had my face crushed, so.
And when he left about an hour, up until an hour ago, there were big red spots on it. But they disappeared. Gave you some good curry chicken and rice at home.
I'm Superman.
Curry chicken and rice.
But anyhow, just to get the show going, we're sitting here just talking and having a good time. A lot of things happened since the last time we were up here. We got a new governor. Okay, we had
Candace gone.
Oh yes, we had a lot of magical things happen. The thing in Mississippi.
Today?
I have to congratulate the brothers and sisters down there. They are becoming very politically astute, and they did the right thing. They got that Tea Party out of there. And we'd also like to say a big up to Miss Clovia here in Richmond, because Clovia got the vote out. She got out there, and she doesn't even know that I know how hard she worked, but I keep tabs on my girl. She's one of the hardest working women you're gonna find. And she got the vote out.
She did a good job.
And she got rid of Mr. Cantor. And I'm not saying that in a malicious way, because Mr. Cantor did do one or two very good things
He was
for Richmond.
I'm gonna be honest. I have voted for him in the past, but when he started talking about my president Obama, that was it with me.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That was it.
That's
No
not
more.
work. That's not going to work. But it's just an example of how your voting mindset should be. We have to get more involved in these local elections, and we have to get more involved in the state level elections. And naturally, we have to be involved in the national elections. And as it happens, that's the one that brings everybody out. But who are you coming out for? You're not coming out for people that you pushed to get there in the first place. Mm-hmm. So from now on, once again, I don't have to say it because Ms. Clovey is on top of it, but I'm on top of it too. And we're going to make sure that this next voting session that comes up, most of our same folks that got out there and made President Obama are out making our next candidate.
Yeah, because see, we need to have better recreational facilities for these youth. This summertime, where are they going? They just can't go to the streets. They should have better recreational centers. Some of the schools should be open for programs. Well, the churches, I hope you're doing your part, but I don't always know. They're just things that places where paid counselors should be for our children, from little right up to teenagers, and we can vote people in that will provide funding for these programs, because the Republicans have cut out a lot of funding nationally.
This is part of what the president's My Brother's Keepers program is about, which is very good. If you're not aware of that program, look it up. Just Google it. Go on Google and look up My Brother's Keeper, and you'll be pretty amazed at the program that this president and his office have put together for our youngsters. We need to do something, and he's doing something. Now that he's doing something, we need to get more involved to make sure that it works. So, suggestions?
Well, also, since you're bigging up people, let's big up Desiree Roots and the cast of The Color Purple. I know it's not always our favorite play, but still, it's a lot of talent in Richmond. It's a whole lot of good talent in Richmond.
And
I just love her voice. And Rasmel is traveling in Europe. He's on the road. Plunky had what kind of anniversary did he have since you're gone?
His 40th anniversary?
I don't know, but
that's
who you need to have here too.
I can do that. Plunky's a friend.
He turned up at the Hippodrome.
Yeah, the Hippodrome is doing a real good job too.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm going to have them up here too.
Yeah.
I had 6 weeks. I can have everybody up here. Anybody have suggestions? Anybody that has suggestions also on a guest that I should have on that I haven't had on, please let me know. I will be having the sheriff on. He's expressed interest in coming on, also in me doing a special from the brand new city jail. And while I'm doing that, we'll find out, we got a jail built, how do we do something for education?
and the jails are already too small. I understand. I don't know if it's true. They have basically closed down the prison system, and I think it's Switzerland, or either Sweden. I think it's Switzerland because there are not enough prisoners for that. They're closing theirs down, and we're building. You know, it's a new slavery trade.
Oh yeah, it is.
Free labor.
It's the other Jim Crow.
And it's giving.
And these guys, you know, you youngsters, I know none of them are looking at me now. If you have a youngster and you want him to come in here and listen, go in there and grab him by his ear and bring him in front of the TV. You know, I did a lot of work down there in Richmond City Jail, and it's a work that I'm proud of. I meet guys on the street now, and they stop me, and they say, thank you. I'm in the supermarket. The guys want me to meet their mothers or their wives or whatnot. It is not difficult to help somebody that needs a helping hand. And we all know how to do it. We've all needed it. We've all needed help at one time or another. And we asked for it and got it. These individuals that are coming out now, especially now that they've changed the drug laws and et cetera, you're gonna find out that there's a whole group of individuals that are gonna come out, but they're coming out disenfranchised. Most of them don't have any place to go. So that's another project.
Another one I want to mention.
Well, we're stacking you up.
Now,
Okay.
now that school is out,
yeah.
a lot of children are going hungry. They have no food, especially
right.
around the 20th, right on to the 30th of the month when they spend out all their food stamps. They really have no breakfast, no lunch, and sometimes no dinner. So I don't know the answer to that, but my solution would be to go to your community centers, go to your clubs that you belong to, go to your churches, and let's see if they can have some programs available to even give out lunch to the children.
Just like the Black Panthers did back in the day. They made sure that the neighborhood kids had food.
What'd they do? I forgot.
They had breakfast and dinner and lunch.
Yeah, they really, because really they are not eating. And an angry man is a hungry man is an angry man, according to Bob Marley.
Well, the phone lines are open. If anybody is looking, and because a lot of you didn't know I was coming back today, those of you that are watching, call up, ask a question. That's what we're here for. And let's just keep this conversation going. What did we do for the summer?
Well, we had a ball in Florida.
Charlene's books. And you know which ones, if you've been watching, she's got 3 books out now. One is called
Mother's to Daughter's Cookbook,
which is the historical cookbook that's been out for a couple of years now.
6 years, and it's my bestseller. I can't believe it.
It just moves like crazy. Then she did the one that I'm so proud of her for writing called Welcome Home Veteran. And you know, that's a statement that Vietnam vets kind of captured. We captured that one for ourselves, Welcome Home Vet, because nobody else was saying it. Now that the veterans have come back into the limelight and are being recognized for who and what they are, it's a nice thing to greet these youngsters coming in with Welcome Home Veteran and being able to give them a how-to book. And you did a great job.
Thank you very much. They enjoy it, and
it's so funny. I'm gonna cut you off. We go to the different bases. We go to the different bases, and Charlene does her book selling in the library, book signings in the commissaries, the PXs, and it's so funny to watch these hardened troops come up and they stand and they'll look at Welcome Home Veteran, and as they're looking at Welcome Home Veteran, they keep glancing over at Mother's to Daughter's Cookbook, and then she'll say, it's okay if you buy the cookbook, and they'll reach down and they'll take the book.
And I tell them that's my bestseller, right? You know. It's got a real pretty lady on the cover, my mother.
And what's happening
and
is
a pig.
They'll walk away, and then they'll come back and say, I think I want that veterans book too.
Yeah. Some of them are embarrassed, I believe, to
there's nothing wrong with me.
Because there's
nothing wrong with me.
But I have a friend that could use it, and then they go and get it for their friend, and we know who they're getting it for.
And it's a great book, but the experiences that we've been having on the military bases, because we're covering most of them on the lower East Coast. We've been up as far up as Andrews Air Force Base, Bowling, Joint Base Bowling,
Fort
Myers, which is an excellent, beautiful place, Fort Belvoir. And then when we were going to this wedding, she keeps talking about Florida again. She had a really good time in Florida, so she's going to talk about it.
We decided to drive down. The rest of the crew flew down, which which was beautiful because we had time alone, and we could stop and we said we were going to stop and see relatives and friends, which we did on the way back.
Right,
and on the way down, he had never been back to Fort Bragg, where he was trained, where you were trained originally.
And that's where I went overseas.
And I mean, and where he went overseas from, and it was just beautiful. I watched Ed just transform back into well, were you 17 years old?
When I was down there, and it was
And
great
he was there.
seeing some of the guys I hadn't seen in like 50 years. And they're looking at me, I used to have a gap right here until the VA fixed all of that. And they're looking at me and saying, no, wait a minute, I know a guy. There was a guy with us, wait a minute. We all look different. We didn't have any hair and all that stuff. I said, Coleman. He says, Coleman, but the Coleman I knew, I said, Gappy, because that's what they called me. And they said, yeah, it's Gappy. We thought you were dead. Gappy, we thought, where are you? We thought you were dead. I heard that so many times.
I did too.
What I did, they pronounced me dead when they flew me out. That's why the guys probably thought I was all dead. But it was great, and it was nice seeing the way our military is being treated now, because these bases, I mean, we stay in the hotels on base, and it's like staying at a Marriott.
It's a suite.
A suite, yeah, we get suites and things like that, but we meet some of the really nicest people that you can imagine. A whole
And you
lot.
know what? The ones that they're all giving back.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
They've received, and they're living comfortably, but they're giving back. And this is the way we grew up, and I think you did too.
Oh, yeah.
You always had somebody, a relative or a neighbor or somebody's friend that you were trying to help go to school, feed, dress, or whatever.
Well, when I was growing up, it was when the Great Migration North was happening. So as my mother and father's younger siblings got out of high school, our house was the house that they came to up north in Long Island to get established in New York, get their jobs, and once they got the jobs and kind of learn their way around again, then they would move out and the next group would come in. But my mother was everybody's mother. Even though she was Aunt Charlene, she was still everybody's mom, because we had 30 or 40 people.
And she accepted that, right?
Oh, very much so, and we still do it. It's in the blood. You help who you can help, and the ones you can't help, you pass on to somebody who can help them, and that's what you do.
And when you give, you receive.
Oh, all the time.
Always. You
Look
just
at
see
us.
doors open.
Look at us.
Just doors
Well, I
open.
am still director of the Victims' Rights Foundation, even though we're not active, because donations dried up. The economy took a turn, as we all know, a couple of years back, and organizations like I said, the Marriott, that used to be at least a $30,000 a year to $60,000 a year donator to our group, has stopped doing donations. Most of the corporations that got hit during that downstroke.
And you know what, Ed? Sometimes things happen for a reason, because you get accustomed. It's always nice to receive a big chunk of money. But there's so many of us, and if each of us could just do a little thing, we could do far more than we could with that big donation. And and I'm not saying don't give to the institutions, by no means. But one thing I noticed by going to the bases, we've run across so many people who are the first black person to do this or to do that or to do. I mean, it's just amazing. It's
first black crew chief for Air Force One, and we have a deck of cards from Air Force One.
That John Kennedy that Clinton had. I mean, they give us all kinds of things, and they show you pictures, and I encourage all of them to write books.
Oh yeah, and they have some stories. We had the first female commander, and she's a general. We met her.
And there's a lot of them now.
Yeah,
a lot of black. You ladies need to check into them. There are a lot of opportunities in the military now for women.
If I was coming out of college now, at this point in life, as 25 years, I would go in the military.
I believe
because these youngsters are going in where there's not that much employment opportunity out here now. The ones that are going into the military in computer technology, into not the gung-ho stuff. That stuff is kind of going by the sides now. We're not going to have mass army movements now. The special forces groups doing what they're doing. If you're paying attention to the news, you're seeing how well they're operating. Those are my boys. But
but the women there, I ran across some women.
Paratroopers.
Not only paratroopers, but they're operating the machinery.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're fixing it. And when they come out, they're stepping into these couple of $100,000 jobs because only they know how to do certain things.
Yeah.
And some of them just little bitty people. They're not just big people.
Well, listen, this phone hasn't rung, so
It makes me wonder if it's working.
and you guys see the number right there. You're welcome to call up and just ask any questions you want for the first show. Now, again, as I was saying, this is the first one. We're going to have some pretty interesting people on, and some of the regular folks. I'll have my buddy Joe Marcy will be back on, and as I said, Sheriff C.T. Woody will try to have him on. I know you have a lot of questions for him. And
How about some musicians?
I'm gonna have Plunky. You told me about Plunky.
Yeah,
I'd love to
I
have
want
Plunky on
Plunky,
here. I'd like to have Plunky on here if we could get his whole group in here.
And you know who you can't forget, the Cats Band.
And my boys, they flew the hotel flew them to Bahamas for our wedding, and they played Happy Day. And now when we walk into a club where they're playing, they see us, they automatically start playing Happy Day. That's one of the best bands working out there, the Cats
And
Band.
they're such a nice group of guys.
Yeah. So you're gonna see, we're gonna do it a little different this time, and I think you'll enjoy it. So
I heard that the Bahamas was bringing another plane back to Richmond.
it's supposed to start in July.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's supposed to start
Direct
in July.
flights.
Direct flights to Grand Bahama. And here we go again. If any of you haven't been, then you need to go. And those of you who have been, I just want you to know that it got easier. Now we're gonna have direct flights going from Richmond Airport straight to, so that means you get on the plane. I don't know what the schedules are gonna be, but whatever the schedule is,
We'll show
2 hours from you getting on that plane, you'll be on the beach in Grand Bahama. So make sure you take
Now,
advantage of that.
speaking of the beach,
Yes.
did you tell them about the Naples trip? Because right here in the United States of America, they have a beautiful tropical beach on the Gulf Coast of Naples, Florida, and
you
it
know,
was.
a lot of people probably knew about it, but
we didn't.
we never vacationed in the United States. So we went to the wedding, we drove, I got a new car, we said we're gonna try it out. So we drove from here to Fort Bragg, and then we drove across. I drove all night from 6 o'clock at night till 7 o'clock that morning.
I stayed awake some of the time.
Some of the time, yeah. And we got to the hotel, and check-in time was at 4 p.m. And the lady said, Mr. Coleman, wait a minute. You're in the Hilton Honors Club. I could check you in right now, and you go up on the Hilton Honors floor. I have a suite for you. So we smiled, and we went. We had no idea how nice it was going to be. And then when the family started coming in, and it just turned into a big party. But then the biggest surprise came when we got a chance to go to the beach.
Oh, God, it was so
Now,
nice.
you know, we're Caribbean. We love the Caribbean
10
places,
years.
beaches. Charlene lived in Jamaica 10 years. You know, we did Tropical Beach for 20 years or more. But it was a very pleasant surprise to be able to go to Naples and see a beach that was beautiful, number one.
And empty.
And empty, and the water was just perfect. My little grandsons, both of them, now have learned basically how to swim. And we just had a good time down there. So I'm talking about it, and I'm suggesting if you don't want to go out of the U.S., you want to do something that has a really nice beach, not to knock Virginia Beach or Myrtle Beach or Hilton Head or any of those, go on the other side and try that golf.
It was really, really nice. Beautiful turquoise water, no waves per se, just mild
Flat water. And the restaurants, the seafood, we're Virginians here, so we know a little bit about seafood. But when you can go out with 6 different people and they sit down and they bring out 2 lobsters on a plate, the lobsters are hanging off of the plate, and everybody's looking like, oh my God. And then
it wasn't that expensive.
they wasn't expensive at all, but they tasted good. That's what I'm
Really
getting up
good.
to. All of the food was delicious.
Food was really, really
So that's our mini travelogue for today.
And evidently they grow a lot of good vegetables and fruits.
The fresh
there.
vegetables
So we got a
down
lot
there,
of fresh
yeah.
food.
So
It was wonderful.
we're talking out here now, like somebody needs to
don't-
pick
I
up
don't-
that phone
yeah.
even just to say, hey, Ed, it's good to have you back. I'm getting a little insulted.
No, I don't know if it's working. Maybe the lines. You want to go? Maybe, no, I'm not going to go out there and see. I was going to get up and call. That's what I do sometimes. All right, let's come up with some solutions, some questions. Let's deal with education. What can we do to get these kids to learn?
Start having martial arts training in elementary school so that the foundation is built. The self-pride, the self-respect, the desire to be a winner, all of that is included. and Daiichi, where we are at the Henrico Dojo, which is over by the White Oaks shopping center over there. That's our mindset. We're working now. We have the children from the Housing Authority and a couple of other private institutions, and these kids, you can watch them change. They come in the first day, a lot of them are crying because they're young, they've heard all about karate, and we don't treat them like they're going into nursery school. We treat them like they are in a dojo. So it takes the first class for them. Usually by the end of that class, we have them smiling. And then the next class, they come in, they feel like they're experts, and it's just so much fun. I mean, I have a really nice time watching these kids grow and watching their mannerisms change, watching their concepts and their desires, their attitudes change from this to, yeah, I can do that. Yeah. I can try that. Like, can I try that? Mm-hmm. And that's what we're fighting for. We want to see that happen with all of our youngsters. And it can be done.
Next question. What can we do about obesity? Without insulting anyone, because you know how
there's too much. There's too much, and it's not healthy, and it's actually killing people. People don't realize that once you get that weight, you start with the heart problems, then you start with the diabetes problem, cholesterol problems. Then you can't walk up a flight of stairs. Your own self-esteem goes down because you don't look as good as you should look. What can you do about it? Well, first thing you can do. They have the cutest
clothes for fat people now, though. That's a disgrace too, isn't it?
It's because they're creating the market with all of this food that people are buying, this McDonald's and all of these fast food joints to sell lousy food.
Insulting somebody.
Well, I don't know who you are, but I'm certainly glad to hear from you. Well, good. I'm glad to hear from you. And I'm putting you on the speaker.
But you never did say who she is. You said Ed. I hope her name is not Ed.
What are you talking about? This is Charlene. You talking about my lady right here? Oh, yeah.
Well, Charlene's doing all the talking.
That's the name of the show, but you see her chattering, right?
Yes, who is she? You didn't say.
My wife.
Okay.
I said that at the beginning.
Have a name, doesn't she?
Her name is Charlene, and we said that. You must have just turned on.
I did. You guys were talking so fast. I couldn't hear what they said. What did you say about the vacation in what place that's in America?
Naples, Florida.
Naples, Florida. I thought you meant someplace off of North Carolina.
No, that's.
I remember that.
Naples, Florida.
You mentioned Myrtle Beach.
I mentioned when I was saying, we're from Virginia. We have Virginia Beach. We have Hilton Head going south. We have Myrtle Beach going south.
Beach.
All the way down Buckrow Beach. But we don't have a beach like they have in Naples, which is a soft water beach.
Where is Naples near?
Naples, it's not too far from Tampa. It's about 70 miles south of Tampa, right on the coast.
Tampa. Oh, it's way down there.
Oh, it's in Florida.
I went to a nice little beach in near Jacksonville where my brother was stationed near Jacksonville in the Navy.
Yeah.
That was nice. So I was just wondering if it was the same beach. I don't even know.
That's a nice beach also. I know which one you're talking about. But the difference in the beaches are the one at Naples is soft water. That's the main difference.
Then the next thing you guys got onto was karate. And then you said you were doing that in Henrico.
Henrico County, yeah.
Why are you not doing it in Richmond?
Oh, we'd love to do it in Richmond. That's what I'm working on right now. Our dojo, our school, is right across from White Oaks Shopping Center on Laburnum.
Yes, that's way down there.
Well, you'll be able to get into Richmond pretty soon. We're working on some things with that. And as my wife mentioned before you turned on, we're also going to be setting up self-defense classes for women. And I think that's going to be a real popular thing. And with that, we'll be able to come to, like, if you want to have it at your church, we'll come to your church, to your community center, things like that.
Well, I hope you do look into the community centers because they like to have somebody there that would do these kinds of things for children and grown-ups as well. So
do you have
the community centers if you haven't found a place in Richmond yet. I like White Oak, but it's a long way from over there, from the south side of Richmond.
Yes, it is. I agree with you. You know, we were accepted into Virginia Union University, where the college was paying for the students to go. But naturally, because it's something that requires some energy and some work, we only had 4 students out of the whole college. But those 4 students brought back state championships to Virginia Union University.
Oh, great.
All right, so my
But,
idea.
I'm thinking about me losing some weight.
Oh, it's yeah. Well,
Mention them.
But I have 2 grandchildren who I would love to put in the program.
How old
like
are
that,
they?
but
How old are
it's,
they? How old are your grandchildren?
11.
That's the perfect age.
Yeah.
That's the perfect
And she
age.
can join them. You can join them while they practice.
Yeah, we
I
let.
know. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, it's not that far then, is it? From Southside. Come on over and get a free lesson. We give everybody a free lesson, okay? And then you'll see whether it's worth the ride or not.
Okay, but maybe I'll call back and leave my number in case you guys need some help.
Okay. Well, how about I give you my number?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay, you ready?
Uh-huh.
804
Uh-huh.
714 7983.
7983. Ed, what's your last name?
Coleman, Coleman. And
Gotcha.
if you saw Driving Miss Daisy, that was my Uncle Willie.
It was?
That's who the story was about. Yeah, and my cousins still have the car down there in
really?
Georgia. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll save the rest
I didn't know it was real.
Oh no, it's a true story. Yeah, Miss Daisy was a character. My father worked for one also. Her name was Miss Brett, but they didn't use him for that movie. They used him for another one, which I'll tell you about on another show. Okay.
Okay. All right. Keep up with your conversation. Just don't go so fast.
And you keep up with watching every Wednesday for the next 5 weeks. We'll be on. Okay, at this time.
Okay.
And
all
call
right,
your
good
friends.
night.
Good night. Call your friends now and tell them to tune in. We still have about a half an hour left. Okay.
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 All right.
Bye now. Bye bye. That's nice. Nice little conversation. That's what it is. It's conversations with Ed.
And because you and I are talking, we just talk fast. Because you have to talk fast when you're married to somebody that talks fast, especially somebody from New York, if you want to get your 2-3 sentences in.
My mother, before we got married, said, "I don't know how you two are going to get along because both of you talk so much." But it seems to work. You know, she gets her 10 minutes. I get my 5.
No,
She
you
gets-
get your 20, you get your 15.
Well, we have fun. We do have fun. But we're going on now. Let's go on. We're going to talk about...
Well, we were talking about obesity, and I got that thing. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a sad situation. And the reality of it is it's up to each individual. There's no cure. I mean, there's no magic pill that you can take that's not going to kill you, okay? But there are things that you can do. And what first thing you do is this. Push away. Okay? That's the best exercise. Pushing away from the table. The best exercise.
And then you have to look at the sugar content of food because if you notice, I stopped buying all those fruit drinks because you're drinking what you think is healthy fruit drinks, you know, the tropical punch, the berry juice, but it's pure sugar and that corn sweeteners and everything that just clings onto you as fat or makes your system just absorb fat more.
And
Then stop eating out, cook your own food.
Cook. You have to cook your own food because there's so many chemicals, there's so many things that are unnatural to our systems in the food that we're getting now that it's making us unnatural. Okay, that's what's happening. And they've done tests. It's not us just saying this off the top of our head. I mean, tests have been done, and it's been said over and over and over again, leave those chicken wings alone, okay, unless you buy them from a place that has natural chicken, and you can fry them or barbecue them or do whatever else you do with them, but you do them yourself. And I know, look, if you own a franchise, I'm sorry, buddy, but you're going out of business. Because healthiness is becoming a
They're not
very
going out of business.
important
People are
thing.
going to live shorter lifespans. Unfortunately, the kids being born now are not going to live as long as we're living because at least when we were younger, we had good food. They have poison in their food now, basically.
Yeah.
A lot of poisons in the atmosphere. It's all around. But we just have to, I was looking at some chickens yesterday, and one whole chicken that was a free-range chicken, so they say, and that had no antibiotics, so they say, because I don't know, was $10. Whereas the other one that had antibiotics and was grown in a little cage was $6.
So most folks will buy the $6 chicken, right?
Did I?
Yeah, well, hey, economics are
But
economics.
sometimes I don't, it just depends. It really depends. So you eat more vegetables, but then they're insecticide. I mean, you just have to be balanced, and you have to move.
And if you have a yard, in which most of us here in Richmond do have a yard, some very sizable yards, we need to be planting our own vegetables and things out there. That way you know where they're coming from, and you know who grew it.
And kids will take pride in what they grow
and
and they'll start eating it. And carrots grow really fast, and radishes and greens.
Yeah, all of that. Radishes, greens, and the tomatoes. I mean, if you grow tomatoes, she grows tomatoes, and
planted any. I was looking at on Facebook yesterday, and Mickey Spencer, a radio friend, from way back in the day, was saying she was reaping her first tomatoes. And I'm saying, and I'm getting ready to plant my first plant.
Well, we haven't been home, so you have an excuse. So, and we're not going to be home too much in the near future because we have some real traveling coming up there. But it's all in the States this time.
And I would like somebody's opinion on ebooks, because I keep hearing I sell a lot of my books. I really do. I'm not going to say how many, but when you talk with people, they buy your book basically when we go places. But I would like to know who downloads an ebook. I do. I buy ebooks.
Yeah.
But if I put up my cookbook or my happiness book or my veterans book up there, would somebody download it, and for how much? And who uploads these books? So if anybody has any answers, let me know, please.
Well, it's a growing business. I mean, evidently it's doing something because more and more companies are getting into that. And, we use those little Kindle Fire. Yeah, use the Kindle Fire.
Yeah.
And just the original purpose for getting the Kindle Fires was number one, they were Christmas presents. But we said, oh boy, books.
Yeah, now I don't have to turn on the light at night now. I can just open that. He doesn't have to say cut off the light.
But it would be interesting to find out. Maybe there's got to be surveys done somewhere about who does what.
And I'm working on 2 more books.
Okay.
The Tropical Beat book, and I just know that's going to be good, because I can put all kinds of stuff in it. I hate to say now that my mother's not here anymore. I can put
you are Caroline's daughter.
I can put things in there that maybe I wouldn't have put if she could read it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I keep telling him he needs to write his book as well.
I don't have anything to write about.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, listen, folks, we did get one phone call out of there. Somebody was watching, and I appreciated that call. We still have about 15 minutes. Come on. It's the first night out, so I know it's going to be a little bit slow. But those of you who have been watching, and I think you're having as much fun as we are, I'd like to think that. But by the same token, tell your friends, next week. It'll be next Wednesday and every Wednesday for the next 5 weeks, and we're going to have some very interesting guests on and some very interesting subjects. And I'm also going to go take you outside and let you see some of the things that we're doing. A lot of you saw the special on the VA hospital. Well, I did a special on the Richmond City Jail about 6 years ago or 7 years ago about the Belief Program.
You've done 2, haven't you?
Yeah, I did that because then I did the long walk to freedom. Hello, caller. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm here enjoying the show.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. Now we know 2 people are watching.
Yes.
Did you have a question for us?
I did, and it's gone out of my mind. Little A setting in right now.
Oh, well, that's okay. It's nice of you to call, and I love hearing people with music in their voice.
Oh, yeah.
You sound like an islander. What island can we say you're from?
But I've been looking forward to the other shows.
Okay, but where are you from?
Richmond.
From Richmond?
Yeah, so maybe when you bring the karate down further, I'll be able to attend.
Okay, there you go. That sounds great. That sounds great. Well, you keep watching and tell your friends to watch, and we sure, you know.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, I got to stop looking at the phone and keep looking at
I'll
the
keep telling
screen.
you, look at
She
the-
keeps tapping me because I'm looking down like I'm talking to you in person instead of looking at you right there. Thank you, ma'am, for the call. We sure appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. I have a question, if I can put in my 2 cents worth.
We can put in a quarter.
I'm writing I'm almost finished, getting ready to publish it. It's my happy cookbook. And I need about 3 more happy recipes. What if anybody has any ideas of some happy food that puts a smile on your face? Give us a call.
Or email it to you, right? Hello, caller.
Yes, Ed.
Yes.
I would like to know when your wife's going to have Tropical Beat on again.
Tropical
I
Beat.
really missed that. I used to watch it all diligently. You know,
well-
Tropical Beat.
I'm getting ready to put it back on because I'm getting so many requests. I mean, it's just phenomenal how many requests. I just need some sponsors. I've got cameramen, I've got tapes, I've got everything.
We have about 1,000 hours of footage that hasn't even been edited yet. But,
Oh, boy.
But-
Okay, I'm looking forward to see that.
well, you know what you can do in the meantime? You can go on your computer and go to www.tropicalbeat.tv
And watch it right now.
and click it on. And when the screen comes up, you see all of the happiness on there. There's a big line that says Watch Tropical Beat. And you can
Okay.
click on there and you can see shows from different countries. There must be about 20 shows on there.
And I'm getting ready to start diligently putting new shows every week up there. The shows I've already done anyway, just putting them on the website.
Yeah, that's nice of you.
And
to
the
call
Tropical
ask
Beats
about-
Beat book is almost
Oh yeah,
finished.
she's
too.
working on the book. She's working on the Tropical Beat cookbook, and a lot of stuff is
It's called
coming.
Rasta Food.
But I'm glad that you just brought that up because we have been talking about it and people have been asking us about it, and it's very nice to hear you asking and we can give you an answer. So
And
go.
thank you for informing me.
Yeah, go to that website and check it out. And when you call back next week watching the show, you can tell us how you liked it. How's that? Okay. Is that fair enough?
And tell your friends.
Okay, thank
please.
you.
All right,
Thank
thanks
you.
a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nice. Tropical Beat. A lot of folks don't remember Tropical Beat, but then you can be in the strangest places and somebody will say, I know you.
Oh, I know your voice.
I
I
know your
recognize that
voice,
voice
yeah,
because
both
I
the-
talk so much on the TV show.
Yeah. She knows the voice gets out there and whatnot. That's a good one. Thank you for that call, ma'am. And it gave us the chance to brag a little bit about Tropical Beat. And if you guys that are looking didn't get that, it's Tropical Beat, BEAT.TV.
www.tropicalbeat.tv. And we also have popcornmagazine.net still out there as well. So that's
children's magazine.
www.popcornmagazine.net. That's about the children's magazine. And that has a little show called Popcornville.
I wonder who plays the wizard. Yeah, that's a real good website for youngsters from 5 to 15 years old.
And I'm breaking a game, but if anybody wants to get involved in the production of that, I have internships available, especially for Tropical Beat, because I have so much footage to log. And I can create a show, I can go on it, I can travel, but I have a hard time logging it because I'm too busy,
So
I guess.
if there's any mass communication students out there that need to get some extra points or something, give us a call. Once again, 804-714-7983. Okay, give us a call. We're very open to that. In fact, we probably need to go down to VCU or Virginia.
Yeah,
Union.
because I used to work very well with the mass communications program at VCU. 30 years ago, they were sending interns for popcorn. In fact, some of those interns have now launched their own children's
magazines. Yeah, that's nice.
So
that's the
that's
biggest
a good
compliment you can get right there. All right, well, folks, listen. We've had a nice first outing, and we're not done yet. We still have a couple more minutes for anybody that does want to call. But please let your friends, all your folks know that Ed is back. I think based on what we found out the last time I ran, they told me this was one of the most popular shows on the community access, and I'm here. I
He's
wanna
not
do my
shy.
best. No, that's not in my
And
program.
obviously, you're not hurting because I didn't think you'd be able to talk so much.
You know,
tonight.
I found that stuff I'll tell you this story. We were down, I think we were at Fort Bragg, were we?
No, Langley.
At Langley Air Force Base, and the lady was there.
Fort Eustis, I'm sorry.
And she said to somebody she was talking to, here, let me try some of this on you, and let's see if it takes away the pain.
He was in pain
Well,
for one of the many injuries.
I'm in pain most of the time. And so I walked over and I started talking to her. She said, where's most of your pain? I said, most of my pain is facial. Head, all of this was crushed a whole bit. Well, she rubbed some of that right up in here, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, the pain went away. And when I come on next week, I'll bring it.
You can't buy it.
I'll tell them what it is if they want to order it. People, everybody's got pain somewhere, and why not help a sister? All right, she helped me out. The pain, it works. I mean, yeah, I still had to go and get my shots and whatnot because I have that massive kind of pain. But for me standing down there that day, that got me through the day.
It did.
And I bought some from her, and I also had one of her cousins, one of Charlene's cousins that came to stay with us for a couple of days, pain in her wrist. I put some on her wrist, and the pain went away.
There are a lot of ointments.
Old time stuff.
That are working.
Yeah, it's old time
They
stuff.
don't have side effects. They don't have steroids in them, but we don't.
And there's no drugs. That's the thing. You don't have to worry about oxycodone or any of that.
And nothing's going to grow out of your head in 10 years.
Right.
Or maybe your memory's going to go. But they're natural and they tend to be working.
And they do work, right? They do work. So I think that'd be a way to go for a lot of folks too. Natural healing. That's something you're hearing a lot about. The medical people are looking at natural healing quite a bit.
Well,
now.
they have to.
And acupuncture is really starting to take its place where it
That
should
helped
be.
you a lot, and then what happened?
They lost the contract.
Oh.
Okay, but I mean now the VA, for you guys that do have that kind of pain, the VA is offering acupuncture once again at McGuire VA Hospital. I started my acupuncture treatments there, and then that doctor left, and I followed her and did it through her private service with the VA supporting it. But then everything went a little. For the 2 years that I went, it was great.
Very good.
It was great.
Then you had other issues that were primary medical issues. So you kind of let that.
That's part of the deal. We were doing a class just 2 nights ago, and the sensei, our head guy, master, was explaining a move to the children, and he said, "Look at me." He said, "I'm 64 years old, and I can get down this low." He says, Sensei Coleman is in his 70s, and look how low he can get. So there should be no reason why none of you could get that low. I said, now, I don't know if I like being the old guy, but we're trying to get the point across to these youngsters that they can do it. You can do it. That we don't allow can't. Can is not allowed in the dojo.
Well, I always tell Kyle and any of our grandkids that can is a bad word.
Oh yeah, we don't say that.
You can't. Can is. I mean, it's just like I use that along with curse words.
Yeah.
I mean, it has the same relevance. Can't.
Can't. There's no such word as can't.
It's a bad word.
So you probably want to know all of the things that we're talking about with youngsters and whatnot. Do we practice them at home? Yeah. To a certain degree, extremely. So, but I'm Poppy, and they listen, and this is mine.
And when you said, do we practice, you act like it's a bad thing. I mean, we have fun with the kids.
Yeah, we have fun, but you know, we're sitting here giving advice, and people want to know.
Oh yeah, we eat good. They eat good, and
very
they do
good.
eat good. I mean, our 5-year-old will go to a restaurant and order salmon. You know, he's not going to order junk food.
Nothing from the kid menu at all at 5 years old.
If he wants a kid menu, it's for the toy. It's not, it's not for the food, because he'll tell you he can't eat that mess, and he's not going to eat it. He wants good food.
Don't take him out for lunch thinking that it's going to be you're taking out a kid to go out and eat.
Because he knows how to order.
This boy knows how to order his food.
And he likes choices. He doesn't want the same thing every day. So our philosophy is, if you give kids a choice from when they're young and expose them to what you like, because they have the same taste buds, they'll develop good eating habits if that's what you have. If you don't have it now, they're going to develop bad eating habits.
And he comes in bragging about how good his salmon was. Poppy, I had salmon. Well, where were you? Outbacks? Come on, Outbacks, 5 years old, and you're ordering salmon. or go to the Mexican restaurant. Next thing you know, you see pictures of him with the sombreros on dancing, because the Mexican restaurant loves to have people that get involved. And this
Embrace that
kid,
culture.
he gets involved with everything. And I'm bragging about grandkids, so you know
Amaya,
it's
yeah.
almost time to go. Okay,
Yeah.
So we start that. Nobody wants to hear it. We have 8 of them, and each one of them has a different story.
Yeah, all characters.
Uh-huh.
As are their parents.
As yeah.
As are their grandparents.
As their grandparents, yeah, sure. Okay.
So I'll sign off on my point and you go yours.
Okay.
Until next week, I want you to keep smiling, keep jamming, and tune in for Conversations with Ed.
Oh, that's a real tropical beat send-off there. I like that. We're in the countdown, folks. Change the camera. Thank you very much. We have some good guys back there now. They've been here for a while, and I really thank them, because they are producers. They know the work. They know how to do the cameras, and they're getting better equipment coming in finally. Comcast is kind of bringing them up, as you can probably tell by looking at the show. The visuals are getting a lot better, and the camera work itself is getting a lot better. So on that note, I'm going to ask you once again, tell your friends, or if you're a friend, I know you're not listening now, and your friend comes to tell you to watch Tropical, listen to me, watch Tropical Beat, watch Ed Conversations with Ed. Okay, if they tell you watch Conversations with Ed, then you know what it is. And I might point out to you that the introductory music, if you looked for the last 3 years, I was doing Bobby Boyd, who is another friend of mine. For this 6 week or 5 week session that's left, I'm doing Frank Abel and Ed Coleman. Okay, what you heard and what you're gonna hear closing out is my buddy Frank Abel, who's also the musical director for The Main Ingredient, and a couple other folks like that. If you Google him, Frank Abel, A-B-E-L, you'll see the whole musicology. But I'm gonna start showing off a little bit for the next 5 weeks.
You should, because but you've always shown off.
But I never
Or as
pushed.
Dia says, turn up, turn out,
Oh,
whatever.
turn up, yeah, they say turn up. But we're putting together some real nice music from, we started back in the 60s as a soul band. Everybody had a soul band.
You got to have Vincent Wynn here. He's doing a lot of.
Vincent is going to be on. I already asked him to come on. Young guy here who's really serious about music. We know a lot of young folks that are really serious about their music, because our stepson, come on, went to France.
All of our kids are going to France.
The music. You took him to the
You talking about Juan?
No, not Juan. That's our cousin now. Yeah, buddy. He grew up in the house just about. Got the wife with the 2 daughters that sing and perform. I give up. Next week I'll have some of these music.
We've had so many kids to
So you guys make sure, like I said, please tell your friends, and you continue to watch. I'll be calling a whole lot of folks myself. Since we were traveling so much, I didn't get a chance to let people know the show was going on. And we're down to 1 minute. We thank you really for tuning in. You can start the music up whenever you guys get ready for it. And I want you guys to listen to the music, and I'll try to play something different from our package every week. How about that? We have that many songs.
And tune in to tropicalbeat.tv, popcornmagazine.net, and Coleman's Connections.
And if you're out and you see us walking around, make sure you say, do you have any of your books with you? Because she always carries them with her.
And myvet.net.
Myvet.net. If you want to check that one out too. The veterans, what? My-vet.net. My-vet.net. Thank you so much for watching. Look forward to hearing from you next week. Call me up. Call in. Watch the show. Good night. That was good. You still dancing?